Thanks for tuning into High on Horror. I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
So today we're wrapping up our unintended Skipper Graham month, as John would put it, by interviewing the man himself in a Scare Package 2 Rad Chad's Revenge interview. We're also joined by Rad Chad himself, Jeremy King. They're going to spill their guts to us in an exclusive interview. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. All right, so we're going to start off, before we get into this interview, by doing a little smoking like we always do. John, what do we got on the menu today, brother?
We got some sticky glue.
That just sounds nice. Is that what I was smelling earlier? Is that the stuff you made me smell?
Yeah, that's the indica.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Been smoking too much of it. I can't even tell.
As Dave shared, it says indica couch. Remember that?
I remember that. It's 16.6% THC.
Oh.
It's a hybrid strain delivering a heavy-handed euphoria and relaxation. Its parent strains are Chem Sister, Sour Dub, and Chocolate Diesel. The laid-back effects curb stress, depression, and pain. I didn't have the normal. It was hard to find some information on this.
You know, I gotta say, I'm disappointed in you, man. You brought me like a multiple cannabis cup winner last week, and this week you don't even have any information on this shit. What's going on, brother?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I'm hitting this though.
No, this shit's fucking medical grade though. But I wanted to ask you. So what are you looking forward to this year, man? You got any plans? Like, I mean, Megan comes out this weekend, the 6th, on Friday. So we'll probably see that and do a review on it.
I'll try to see it sometime this weekend, most likely.
Did you make a New Year's resolution?
I never do that. I never make one.
I made one. Mine is to watch less movies, believe it or not. Because it's just like it's all I do. And I love watching movies, but with kids and like them growing up, it's becoming more and more frustrating. And it's like when it takes 2 days to finish an hour-and-a-half movie, I'm just done. I'm just gonna have to start arranging my time better.
Yeah, I don't ever make any plans. That's why my life never changes. Yeah, I want to see Megan. The only thing is, we talked about it. 2023 is just a lot of sequels, reboots, sequels from franchises that haven't had a movie in a while. Ones that are having sequels that are taken away. Other sequels like Saw's. Like I guess we're just ignoring Spiral.
I guess, and we have the awesome David Gordon Green's Exorcist to look forward to.
Maybe it'll actually be good. Who knows?
I'll catch it on Peacock.
Gonna have Corey Cunningham in that too. He don't want to go and take the demon out of her.
He gonna play Father Karras.
I will say the movie I'm really interested in coming up is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna check that shit out for sure. Did you see that one of our like avid fans, he goes, oh god, I shouldn't have said that because now I don't know his name and I feel like an asshole. I know him, his Instagram, he follows us. He posted a message that he sent to the director of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and the director confirmed to him in private messages that it is not dudes in masks. It is actually like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Piglet and all of them, like actually just like monstrous versions of them killing people. I'm in. Like it's like Wrong Turn meets Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Now, before we get into our interview, this episode's. I guess we probably should have said it in the intro, but this one's a little different. We don't necessarily have a movie to review because. We've talked to Graham. Well, we've reviewed all the Graham Spencer movies. But
literally.
So after this, we're just going to be jumping into the interview. But before that, we're terrible people.
Listen to the last 3 episodes. There's your reviews.
Yeah.
There's your reviews. This is the episode that gives you the interview.
Yeah, and we're terrible. We wait till now to tell you it's the weed. But I mean, you people should get it of all you stoners. What I want to jump back to before we actually get into the interview is what was your favorite movie of 2022?
You know, I thought about it.
Or a couple, either way.
Yeah, my favorite movie of... Okay, I'll give you my favorite and least favorite. My favorite movie of 2022 is Terrifier 2. That definitely, that's the one. Terrifier 2 for me. No questions asked on that one. Up until that point, I thought that my favorite movie might have been Black Phone, my favorite horror, but Terrifier 2 to me, that just satiated like the horror hound in me was overflowed with joy and fulfilled in every way after watching that movie. My least favorite movie, believe it or not, is not Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is in the worst three. It's by far in the bottom three of the year. But I would have to say that the worst film is the Jeepers Creepers Reborn. I mean, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, like, I would rather fucking jump out of a plane before watching that again.
My favorite was Speak No Evil.
Oh, good fucking choice.
I really like that. Terrifier 2 is right up there. And, God, I can't even remember what it was. I'm too high. I had a third that I was going to round it out with, but my least favorite, again, not Halloween Ends, Allegoria.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
because I know, because in my mind I go, if Drew doesn't say Allegoria, I feel like he's just wiped it from his mind. Which good for you. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could forget you ever had to see
I
that.
did. I like Men in Black myself.
I can't. I'm stuck here with the images.
With the scenery.
I can't get it out of my head. But that was the worst movie of the year.
So hold on.
Watched.
So Allegoria, okay, Jeepers Creepers Reborn, The Munsters, and Halloween Ends. Am I missing any? To me, those are the four. Those are like the, and I'm not talking like indie horror, because there's like 1,000 indie horror movies uploaded on Tubi and Amazon every week. They're bound to be shitty. I'm not asking that. I'm talking commercial movies or sequels or reboots. Those are the worst ones. Rob Zombie and his brother made the list. Rob and Spider Zombie.
Yeah, I mean, damn. You want to talk about how things change in a year? I issued 2 apologies to Rob Zombie on our show.
Yeah.
You know, at least he didn't make Halloween Ends, and he's not the worst director in his family.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
That's kind of a backhanded apology.
Kind of. A little bit.
I like Power Man 5000 better than Rob Zombie.
That's a toss-up. I like a little bit of both.
But, yeah. Also, a movie that I really liked, and I almost want to include in my top 3 just because I feel like it doesn't get enough love, is the classic 3.3 Hulu Razor.
Hellraiser, yeah, man. That's a good one. Hell yeah.
I like the Hulu Razor.
Me too. I liked Hulu Razor a lot. I also really, really liked Barbarian.
My sister messaged or mentioned to me, she was like, I heard they redid Hellraiser. I'm like, yeah, and it's good.
Yeah. And Barbarian was...
It ain't no 3.3, according to some people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hold on. You know what? I have a stack of movies right here. Oh, Nope. Nope was a fucking solid one. Yeah, man. Pearl?
Oh, yeah.
Pearl and Smile, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
I think I like Pearl more than you do. I fucking love
Well, no,
Pearl.
I don't know if I told you this on the air or off the air. It might have been off the air, so I'm going to clarify, because I didn't say this in our review, and then as soon as the review ended, I thought, like, damn, like, you know, I wish I would have read this person's comment before, because it definitely summed up how I felt. Pearl is a good movie. It's well acted, it's well shot, it's beautiful to look at, like, it's a good movie. I don't find it to be a good horror movie. There was nothing about it that thrilled me, that scared me. X delivered exactly what I wanted, so that's why I like X more.
Okay, I feel like it fits in with X. It's just there's not as much killing.
Yeah.
Where I think maybe us as the horror community have expected with each sequel that the body count's going to go up.
Yeah.
But I would still classify it as a horror movie. I mean, she's going around axe murdering people.
No, I do. I mean,
if Misery's a horror movie, Pearl's a horror movie.
I'm not saying it's not a horror movie. I'm just saying I don't find it to be as good of a horror movie. When I put a horror movie on, I do want to be scared, and
okay.
I do find that Misery is scarier. I'd be more intimidated by Kathy Bates than Mia Goth. No offense, but
she ain't got
Kathy
no eyebrows,
Bates
dog.
Charge you like a fucking bull, man. Kathy Bates will fuck you up.
She's built like a linebacker.
She'll manhandle you like Brock Lesnar. And then she'll fucking clap your ankles Triple H style. It's done.
She gonna take you to Suplex City?
That'd be embarrassing as fuck. This dude just got belly to back suplex 11 times by Kathy Bates.
That's a rough day. But
I think that we're going on and on here.
Is this where we just ended? Just go into the interview? Like,
I think we need to get on to the interview.
You go from, Kathy Bates belly into belly and you to let's
belly
get
in the back
interview.
of me, man. Belly in the back of me. Get it right.
My bad. I guess that's a perfect segue to our interview.
Yeah. Let's introduce Graham Skipper and Jeremy King from Scare Package 2, Rad Chad's Revenge.
And joining us today, we have Chad Buckley, the proprietor of Rad Chad's Horror Emporium, Jeremy King. Thank you for joining us. And also joining us, he seems to be everywhere this holiday season. And even our show ended up having a completely unplanned Graham Skipper month. Graham Skipper himself, thank you both for being high on horror.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. I love being high.
Well, thanks for being on again. And yeah, well, that's my question. You guys are on High on Horror. So, Graham, Jeremy, do you guys smoke? And if you do, how often?
Oh, yeah. I'm the same way. Unfortunately, I used to smoke a lot, and I loved it. It was this is last week. Yeah, no, I used to smoke a lot. I loved it, and yeah, at a certain point, I don't know if it's just getting old or something. I started getting paranoid, and I don't know. I can't do it as much anymore. Occasionally, I will, especially if there's like a particularly trippy movie that I know is going to be really, really great. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once, great choice to break the fast with. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I wish I could do it more, but I do love seeing a good movie high from time to time.
I mean, have you tried edibles? Maybe won't get as paranoid with them.
Well, see, edibles lock you into the roller coaster for a really long time.
That's fair.
And so I fear those a little bit. With at least when you smoke, it's like if it's not working for you, it's over relatively fast.
So I wanted to ask Graham. I'm going to direct this question directly at you. I understand that you're an avid Godzilla fan like me. And so before we get into Scare Package 2, I want to know, what are your 5 favorite Godzilla movies? Okay, here are mine. Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Gojira, Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019, Godzilla 2000, and Shin Godzilla.
I respect the hell out of that list. All fantastic films. In no particular order, mine would be Gojira, Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Nice.
I'm going to say All Monsters Attack, which I know is a controversial choice, but I have my reasons for that. I really love that movie. And then probably on a pure nostalgia factor, because it's the movie that got me into the franchise, I've got to say King Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay.
And I really like the Japanese version of that a lot more than the American, because it leans harder into the comedy. I think that's a really funny movie, and I was glad to be able to discover the Japanese version of that on the most recent Criterion set that they released. But I think off the top of my head, those would be my 5.
Okay, well, that's a fantastic list. What do you think of Legendary Godzilla, yay or nay?
Oh, I'm a fan. Yeah, for sure. I love that you mentioned Godzilla King of the Monsters. I think that movie's like weirdly unfairly maligned. I don't quite understand.
I know, man.
Why people hate on that movie, and I don't get it. I think that movie is really, really, really fun and really beautifully done, and has a really. I think it does a great job of presenting the monsters in a modern way, in the way that kind of all of us as kids were expecting them to look, like that's how I expect Mothra to look. And I think Mike Doherty, who I'm a big fan of anyway, I think that he really nailed it. So I'm glad to hear you mention that. And I'm a fan of that whole thing. Godzilla versus Kong is an absolute blast.
Right.
And I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I agree. Jeremy, are you a fan of Godzilla by chance?
The latest ones have been absolutely amazing. I've been really impressed. I remember watching like the original Godzilla movies when I was a kid, um, but the latest ones have been awesome. I was actually, I think I caught them by accident, and I was like, this is really good stuff. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, okay, let's get into Scare Package. Jeremy, how long after the first Scare Package were there talks of a sequel?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it was a good 6 months, 8 months or so. I was on vacation with my family. I'll never forget it. I was on vacation with my family in North Carolina, sitting in the middle of a river, like sitting on a rock with my feet in the water. And Aaron called, and we had a conversation about next steps and how well the first Scare Package had been received, and the amazing luck of getting Joe Bob to be a part of it, and that was before his resurgence, and then getting to premiere it on his show is just absolutely amazing. I think we reached a much larger audience because of that. So yeah, we have Joe Bob to thank for that one, I think. But yeah, it was 6 to 8 months after the premiere.
And were you surprised that Rad Chad made it back for the sequel?
I, I always had I always had an inkling that they had more plans for this, and when they sent me the script, I mean, we went back and forth so many times because I go, I don't get it. This doesn't make sense. That this one part, blah blah blah, and they're like, no, that's the point. Like sequels rewrite the history of what happened in the first one all the time. We're doing that on purpose. And I kept I kept calling Aaron back and going, but this really doesn't make sense, and I really want to make sense of this. And he's like, it doesn't make sense. That's the point. Like, just So there were some things I just had to go, okay, like he understands it, and I'm just going to go with it. But yeah, I was so excited to get back into the Rad Chad gear. It really put me in a good place. I think the first like week or so of filming, I was Bo, so we didn't film the Rad Chad stuff until I think into the second week. So it was interesting.
Well, I
And by
imagine
that time, I had
that
learned so
Scare
much
Package 2.
about acting from
Sorry, go ahead.
Graham, just watching him.
Well, I was going to say that I imagine Scare Package 2 was easier to film since it didn't have the same COVID restrictions as the first one and had like less stories in the film.
No, yeah. So it was the opposite. The Scare Package 1 was 2019.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I think we
That's
filmed
my
that.
bad.
We might have filmed that in 2018, so that was actually easier to film. And then I think the biggest challenge with Scare Package 2 is the amount of people on set was just so much greater. In a lot of those scenes, there's seven or eight people around at all times. So as far as like improv and things like that, it made things a lot more complicated because you didn't want to be stepping on other people's lines or screwing anything else in the scene up,
Okay.
except for if Graham had a line, and then I would usually try to say his line, and then
Yeah, that was really nice of you, Jeremy.
yeah.
That was really great.
What's so funny? So we were on a podcast like 2 weeks ago, me, Byron, and somebody else, and we just talked smack about Han like for like an hour, and then I when we got done, I'm like, I don't know if people are going to realize we were kidding. Like we were just saying he was like a nightmare to work with, and like really tough.
There was, I think that on Scare Package 2, there was more ball busting on this set than any set I've ever worked on, and I've worked with Joe Begas a number of times, and so that's really saying something.
We did have our fun.
Well, Jeremy, since you were in both films, I want to ask you, which one of the films do you prefer now that Cigar Package 2 is out? Do you like 2 more than the first one?
I don't have a preference. I think it's like children, like I have two kids and I don't think I could choose between them. They're both
Yeah, but I mean, if you had to,
the one without
I
Graham
mean, you
Skipper
could.
probably. Um,
No, I'm talking about your children. I'm talking about your children, Jeremy. Your actual children.
okay. No, because this is being recorded and they could find this years from now.
Right.
And then one of them would
Right.
be really upset. I like them both for different reasons. And the cool thing about Scare Package 2 is I liked it more the more I watched it. I think I had seen Scare Package 1 so many times that the first time they showed me like a rough cut of Scare Package 2, I was like, wow, like that was really good. But I wasn't quite sure. And then it like grew on me the more I watched it. And I think I've seen it like 10 times now. So I think they're both great. They both have a little bit different flavor. I think Scare Package 2 is a little bit darker. They definitely piled like more of the horror references in this one and went a little more off the wall with a lot of stuff, which was a lot of fun. So I would have to say it's a tie, except for Graham Skipper scenes.
Now, Chad has the video store, Rad Chad's Horror Emporium. If you open the horror video store, what's like 3 to 5 movies that have to be like the first ones you have in the store?
Well, you got to go with all the 80s classics. Like I said, I think I would go with Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Those would be right up front because those are the ones that draw everybody in and get them into horror. And then you get into all the, different subgenres and stuff like that. But going back, I remember like sleepovers and stuff like that where we'd all watch one of those films. And then, like, you'd freak out for the rest of the night, like if a light turned off or a light went out, or if, and then with Nightmare on Elm Street, you can't go to sleep either. So you're not even safe there. So I would go with the classics. And maybe The Leech, which also came out this year, starring Graham Skipper.
Aw, buddy.
Now, for both of you, the videotape segments, did you guys have a favorite one?
Gosh, that's tough. I really enjoy all of them. I think that something about Jed Shepard's really just spoke to me. I love I love those weird like online conspiracy theories isn't the right word, but like those weird online like mythical those myths about
Yeah.
can you see the body hanging in the background of the Wizard of Oz, sort of thing. And so I really liked that they touched on the 3 Men and a Baby ghost legend. That made me laugh.
Which, as a kid, I remember very specifically, me and my brothers did rent that, and we did stop it on that scene. And we were like freaking out that like somebody was behind the curtain there. I love them all. But like for me, We're So Dead at the very end just kills me every time. Like those kids, like the casting in that one was just so insanely great. And like the Stand By Me vibes, like totally very 80s vibes with that one. And I just think the kids in that are so darn funny. Like, man, I wish I was as
They're
funny
great.
as them
They're great.
sometimes.
I wish you were as funny as them too, Jeremy, for the record.
Yeah, thanks.
Now,
I try.
Jeremy, you had an additional role of Bo Buckley. Did you enjoy getting to play like 2 different roles?
It's so funny because my accent, like I actually did work on it, which you probably can't really tell. Cockney,
He really did. I can attest to this.
yeah, and
He really did.
Cockney is really tough, and they had it written. They didn't really have it written in Cockney, so Cockney slang is all about rhyming and stuff like that. So I was going through like every night and like changing all my lines based on what you would say in Cockney slang, and then having to work on it like that. And then it was really tough because you couldn't really, well, I couldn't because I'm not that good. I couldn't really improv in that character because it's so controlled and so my lines were so set in that one, you know. So I did enjoy Bo Buckley, and I think it was so funny because like Aaron, every time the smoke would come in, I was thinking, well, I'm a chimney sweep. I'm kind of used to this. So like I would stand there, and then I had this thing when I fell, I would always fall butt up. And like Aaron was getting so frustrated. He's like, cut, Jeremy. Okay, you got to fall, first of all, and don't do the butt up thing. You got to stop doing that. And I think I made it into one scene doing that. I fell regular, but when I got up like butt up towards the camera, and I think it made the cut. So I mean, I was having a lot of fun with just stupid stuff. I don't think Aaron was.
Do you have a favorite line or scene of yours as Rad Chad?
Oh, that's tough. Getting out of the, I hope I'm not ruining anything, but everyone should have seen it by now. Getting out of the casket and that whole scene, it was Graham and Zoe, and I like between the three of us, we couldn't make it through a take. Because either I would crack up laughing at them, or they would crack up laughing. So by the time we got done filming that scene, neither of them were looking at me, and I wasn't really looking at them because like we couldn't get through one take. Like, so I would say definitely in this one that that scene for me was probably the most fun.
Yeah, that was. I was just when you asked that question, I was like, "What is mine?" I thought, "Oh, it's got to be that goddamn final scene." It's like I cannot express to you. One, it was so late at night, so we're already kind of slap happy. Two, I think that was the last day of filming, right?
If it wasn't the last day, it was no, that was the last day. That was the last day. Yeah.
That was the last day because me saying my last line, I remember that was actually the last thing I said on set, and then I was wrapped after that. Yeah, it was so we just were laughing and having such a great time, and it was really emblematic of kind of the whole experience of shooting this movie, which was just everybody was just having a blast. I mean, even when it was like 8,000 degrees on set, and even when we were running behind schedule and people were hurrying to get the next shot or whatever, everybody was still having a blast, and everybody still found the funny in everything that we were doing. So it was a really great experience and a really great group of people.
Yeah, the people, I mean, like Rich Summer was, I mean, probably the nicest, most down-to-earth guy you could ever meet. Kelly Maroney, like coming in, like when you work with somebody that's been around like that, you sort of give them their space at first. And she came right up and like, hey, how are you? Like got to know us. And having Dustin Rhodes back. The first time we shot, it was sort of the same thing with him. I was kind of like, okay, he's probably used to like people bothering him in between takes and stuff like that. So this time around, we kind of like hung out outside and got to know each other more. And I think for me in this one, that was probably my favorite part of being a part of it is just the on-camera stuff, but getting to know everybody that was on set, because everybody just brought so much joy every day, except for Graham. He caused a lot of drama.
Yeah, I'm a big diva.
Oh my God.
Big time diva.
Yeah. If his underwear wasn't cooled to 55 degrees before he put it on every morning, he wouldn't even show up.
Yeah, but think about how comfortable 55-degree underwear is.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah. Sometimes as they were bringing that cold underwear to you on set, I would just put it against my face just to kind of cool off before we got into our scenes.
Well, and weirdly, you do that after I got into the underwear as well.
Well, that was more to get closer to you on a psychic level.
Sure, it's what is that? That's Meisner, right? Meisner technique.
Yes, yeah. I think Sanford Meisner did talk about getting close to your fellow castmates' underwear causes a bond.
Yeah.
Not only with them, but with the audience, because having your ball sweat on my face during scenes, I think really drew the audience in a lot of cases. I feel.
Well, I mean, it's Chekhov's ball sweat,
Yeah,
when you have,
that's what it was.
Okay, we're going.
See, that wasn't
all right.
right.
This is yeah. All right. Yep. When Chekhov's ball sweat gets mentioned, I think we're going into.
Why you got to ruin the fun,
territory.
Graham?
I always like to do that, Jeremy.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned the casket scene, because the one part that just always makes me laugh is when your foot gets caught. Was that written in, or did your foot just really get caught when you were trying to get out?
It was kind of a combination. It was kind of me having fun with the whole experience of getting out of the casket. There was a lot of that paper, like an enormous amount of paper inside the casket. And I don't know if that's like a real thing or they had just bought the casket and it just had like the liner in it or something. But the first time it sort of started getting wrapped around my foot and I just kind of went with it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to bust ass because that's what Chad would do. And, and then it kind of extended out when I couldn't get the paper off my foot. And so, yeah, that was a little bit of both, but I hope when I get buried, they pull all that paper out or they throw me in the ground.
And Graham, I got to ask, did you ever think you would have had the chance to play Frank from Hellraiser in a movie?
Oh, man. Never in a million years, but boy, am I happy that I got to. I'm also glad that, in a way, I also got to kind of play Julia because I got her suit. I mean, that honestly, I mean, well, one, when Aaron reached out to me, I was a big fan of the first one. I wanted to work with Aaron. And despite my trepidations of working with Jeremy, who's got a reputation, let me tell you what, I was just so excited. I was just so excited to work on this. Excuse me. But when Aaron sent me the script and I saw that I got to wear this full prosthetic, I was stoked because I've never been covered in blood. I've had different prosthetics like put in my body, but I've never had
it's usually in your personal
the chance
life,
to actually do something like this. What'd you say, Jeremy?
It's usually in your personal life that you have prosthetics added.
Well, yeah.
They're asking film questions.
But yeah, I was super excited about it, and it was great. I mean, House and Nathan Bright. I mean, the two of them were just total pros in applying that monster of a suit. And I think at first it took us about 2 hours to get into it, and then like an hour to get out of it. And then by the end, we got it down to like 90 minutes to get in, and then like 45 minutes to get out. And it was a really fun ritual every day. It was incredibly uncomfortable. I left a trail wherever I went.
He was moist.
I was very moist. I was very hot. But what was funny, like Jeremy was talking about when Dustin Rhodes was on set, and I grew up a big WWF fan. That was my childhood. So I was stoked to meet him. And I'm sitting there talking to him, and I realized at a certain point, I'm just grilling him about like tell me cool wrestling stories. And he's super nice and, very generous with his storytelling. And I realize I'm talking to this guy as a skinless, like whack job, and he's so like kind and like professional and like chill with me and everything. It was just one of those very surreal moments that you can only ever have on a set. And I was very grateful for that.
I gotta say, it's a credit to Aaron and Cameron Burns as well, who just took like something so simple of just like you laying there pointing to the, I'm in hell. It's just so hilarious.
Yeah, and I was in hell. I was in hell. It was
that wasn't acting.
It was brutal. That wasn't acting, but it was great. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Aaron, if you're listening, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
I think it's in my contract that you're not allowed back, but we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, ball sweat.
Or maybe it's in your contract that I'm not allowed back.
We're at a standstill then because it's in my contract that you can't be back. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
After all the lines I tried to put in and kept getting cut.
It's just now. It's just going to be Byron Brown
Right.
at the end, standing there.
I think Byron Brown playing Sam is the most underrated, underappreciated part of both scare packages. Like, I could watch that dude read a telephone book. Like, he is just so darn
He's
funny,
phenomenal.
and like the energy that he brings, and the insane, like in the first one, the Goldie Hawn line, all that was improv. Like, all that was improv, and I literally ruined 2 takes from laughing when he was doing that scene with Han because I wanted to sit there and watch it, but then I kept ruining it and I had to like walk away. But man, that dude is just funny.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And Jeremy, I got to ask you the one line that's just so ridiculous but makes me laugh every time. I got to take a Brad Pitt. Was that in the script or was that on your own?
That was written by me the night before, going through. I was trying to find. So again, Cockney slang. I got to take a shit, and so you wouldn't say that. You'd say something that rhymes with shit, and then I was like, oi, go take a Brad Pitt. That was all me. That was all me.
Well, I wanted to ask both of you, Graham and Jeremy, do either one of you guys say you have so much fun on the set? Can you guys tell us like a funny behind the scenes story that you share?
Other than the copious amount of beer that we drank when we were not working at that one wing place that we found.
Oh, that one wing place where you
That one
creeped
wing
out
place.
the poor waiter.
Whoa.
Yeah, gosh, I don't know. We had a blast. I'm trying to think. I mean, we played. So Rich Summer is a big fan of board games, so he brought a whole lot of like board games and card games. So we would play a lot of those. That was really fun. I think. Oh man, yeah. I mean, the whole like. I don't know the whole like first like chunk of filming when it was all of us together in that really hot warehouse. It just led to, we were so hot and so it was. I mean, this is the summer in Oklahoma City
At an abandoned warehouse. Yeah.
In an abandoned warehouse that certainly doesn't have air conditioning. Everybody is just like slap happy with delirium. At after like hour 6 or whatever, and so just so many jokes and people acting ridiculous and Aaron yelling at Jeremy to quit goofing around.
Stop doing what I'm doing.
To stop doing whatever it is Jeremy's doing at that moment.
The only good thing is I do have an asbestos lawsuit now going.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. That's good. Funnily enough, it was actually the same warehouse where they shot Hellraiser Judgment, which I, as a big Hellraiser nerd, thought that was a fun little bit of horror synchronicity, which I personally enjoyed.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I just learned something new today from Graham.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Well, Graham, I can imagine what you're saying though, but you guys got lucky having the cast you had because like being a movie fan and watching commentaries and reading books, being in a small warehouse with with heat, everybody hot, that could have gone the opposite way. Y'all could have been total dicks to each other and miserable, and instead you guys had a good time with it. So I gotta say, that's kudos to you guys for being true fucking troopers and like real actors.
That's such a testament
100%.
to
It was such a great group of people.
What's that? Yeah, I was going to say that's a testament to everybody that was working on the film because you're exactly right. It could have, on a lot of other projects, I've seen much less. And it's like people get very diva-like sometimes as far as temperature control and stuff like that. And which, they worked their butts off to try to cool it off. They went out and bought, God, what did they have? 6 or 7 of those like small AC, like portable AC units, and piping all throughout the thing, but it just couldn't keep up. Usually
Well,
like
it was
11.
and those AC units would have a little temperature gauge on them of like what the temperature is now. Now that they're working. And it was so funny because it was like 110 degrees or something inside the warehouse. And so it would be like, oh, but look, it's cooled it down to 96 degrees. It was it was very funny. But that was the thing. You know, all of us were in it together. Everybody was in the trenches together, wanting to make this really cool thing. Aaron is such an amazing leader. You know, he really knows how to steer a ship and how to keep morale up, how to keep everybody feeling positive.
Well, I mean, and him and
Yeah,
Cameron do love
it
what
was
they do. You know, they do bring that joy and
absolutely,
passion
absolutely.
themselves.
Yeah, it's infectious, and so it was a great experience all around.
And Graham, I wanted to ask you, you've been everywhere this past holiday season, and of course with The Leech and Christmas Bloody Christmas. Do you now think you're a horror icon for Christmas now? I mean, you're really just everywhere this year.
I mean, thanks. I've been very. I consider myself a very lucky person. Is what I consider myself. This has been a very good year for me. I've been very blessed. Yeah, I mean, to have 3 movies come out in December is something that is very rare and will probably never happen again in my career. But I'm very proud of all of them, as well as Mystery Spot, the other film that came out a couple months ago, and. Yeah, just, you know, I'm just lucky and happy to be a part of these projects. You know, it's like if you were to tell me, you know, when I was a 12-year-old kid, like really getting into horror, you know, that I would get to, you know, play a skinless Frank, a beer pong champion, you know, that I would get to, you know, get slaughtered by a robot Santa, you know, that I would get to be a demented priest, that I would get to be a sad dad with his ghost daughter, like, how cool, you know, how awesome. Yeah, so I'm just happy and very, I'm also very happy that this was sort of the culmination of the month for me, and to get to have this come out so close to Christmas. It was, dare I say, a real gift.
Well, Graham, you also had a role in Beyond the Gates. Now with Rad Chad 2, like, what do you think is drawing you to these VHS throwback type of films?
Oh, I mean, well, I was a VHS kid, you know, like I think
Amen,
we all
amen,
were,
brother.
you know.
Yep.
I mean, that was the lifeblood. That was what childhood was all about. I mean, I will never. I mean, I still have my VCR. You know, I use it very infrequently, but I love it, and I love the feel of it, and I just love those memories of the sort of fear and excitement of picking out a movie that you've never seen purely based on the box, you know, and the recommendation of some 16-year-old behind the counter of a Blockbuster.
Kids these days will never
right.
know.
I mean, those were the days.
The joy of wandering
Yeah,
around.
I mean, those are the
Blockbuster.
days. I mean, you know,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that was it. That was that's. I love it, and so I love to I love that we get to celebrate it still in the horror world.
Absolutely. And, you know, the other thing I was going to bring up is that you had a role in one of my yearly Halloween movies that I watched, Tales of Halloween. So, like,
Oh, yeah.
what draws you to anthology films? Is that just, you know, is it because you were a fan of anthology films like Creepshow and, you know, Tales from the Dark Side and stuff like that? Or is it just, you know, the script?
Oh, sure. I mean, one, yes, I am a fan of anthology films. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Tales of the Dark Side. That is my personal favorite. I think it's better than Creep Show. You can fight me.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's just wanting to work with people. You know, I mean, that was the thing with Tales of Halloween was it was just a huge group of people that I really wanted to work with, and so. You know, that was the opportunity that afforded that. And I loved the script. I loved it was, again, sort of like Scare Package 2, just a really great sense of family and of just a group of people wanting to make something cool together that filled my little black heart with joy. So I was very lucky to be a part of that as well.
And you also did The Leech, as I mentioned. As Father David, you showed a lot of patience. Do you think you personally could have put up the same amount of patience that Father David did?
You know, I will say this. I'm not sure I would have the sheer amount of patience that Father David did, but I have been told that I'm a very patient man. And I think that I am generally a really, really patient guy. So I think that I am pretty prone to falling into the trap that Father David does.
He did share a house with me for a couple weeks, and it was like reenacting the Leech before I ever saw it.
It really, he is not lying. He is not lying. There was that one night that I woke up and you were just standing over my bed.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
strange.
yeah.
And that's not a joke. I really did wake up and he was standing over my bed. But I gave him I gave him a tender kiss. He went right back to bed. It was fine.
I did. I rolled back.
That's
over
all he
and-
wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting meth into his CPAP machine.
Which that's a whole thing.
Damn.
Remember that 3 days you lost?
So Graham, did you and Jeremy Gardner follow the script, or did you guys like improvise on the Leech, like how he as Terry could like push you to your fucking limits? Did you guys spitball like what could you do to make me finally fucking snap, or was that all like written?
I mean, everything that happens in the movie was written in the script, but Jeremy especially definitely improvised a lot of the lines that happened. He would definitely make them his own. But I mean, everything that happens in the movie that was written in the script, and granted, Eric, the director, talked to us a lot beforehand about what we were about the movie and about how we felt about the things that would progress, and is there anything that would be an absolute deal breaker, and just how far do you think David could be pushed? And so that was definitely a conversation. But once the script was set down, aside from like improvising lines and adding in some fun zingers, it was all narratively it was all there.
So you actually learned your
I
lines
just
for
want-
that movie. Is that what you're saying?
What'd you say?
Said you actually learned your lines for that movie? Because on Scare Package
I
2,
did.
I mean, you just showed up and you had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I was just like I said, so I'm just farting the whole time,
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
A lot of earpiece work. Aaron had to like feed you your lines through the earpiece. In fact, in a lot of scenes, you
yeah.
can see him holding his ear as he's saying his lines because he forgets to let go.
Well, I forget to
As he's
act.
putting
Yeah,
on his
I forget
warm
to act
underwear.
is what I forgot
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually want to jump back to Rad Chad here, but Graham, are your beer pong skills as good as Dwight's?
I'm fucking great at beer pong. All right, I'm going to say that right here, right now. I was very pleased that I got to show off my skills a little bit in this movie. But I haven't played in a long time, but I'm confident that if somebody were to challenge me, I would be able to hold my own.
I feel like out of the whole cast, you and I, Graham, could be the real beer pong champions out of anybody that worked there.
Oh, we should have done that.
done
We
it.
should have at the rap.
Should have
we
been
should
a
have had it
tournament.
as the rap.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the rap party should have been a beer pong tournament. And
Exactly.
then you and I would have dominated, and we could
legendary.
have been really happy about that one very insignificant skill that we have.
Hey, man, it translates to real life,
Sure.
just like video games.
And Graham, with Christmas, Bloody Christmas, if I think I'm right, this is your third time working with Joe Bagos.
Oh, more than that. This is 1, 2,
3,
3.
4,
This is number
5.
4. This is number 4.
5.
Yeah, this is number 4, including Bliss. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, me and Joe, we go way back. I mean, we both started our careers together, basically. So it was really fun to get to go back and play with him on set again.
And what is it that just keeps drawing you back to his movies?
I mean, he's just, he's one of my best friends, and I think he's incredibly talented. And, like I said, I mean, we were really, really in the trenches together, in Almost Human and The Mind's Eye. And, to get to be on that journey with him has been a real honor and a privilege. And, I mean, I'd do anything for that guy. I would.
That's how I
do
feel
it.
about
there's no
Aaron
fifth.
B. Kuntz, the director of Scare Package
Yeah, I mean,
1
it's
2. I think
yeah,
Aaron B.
yeah,
Kuntz is amazing, and I would rather talk about him as a best friend and an amazing director so that I'm in the third one and not Graham.
We want to thank both of you for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun.
Except for Graham.
Do you have any
thank you,
upcoming
guys.
projects you want to talk about?
I am in Jeremy King's sex tape, which is dropping sometime in 2023.
Yeah,
I don't know
we're-
when that
we're-
is, Jeremy. Do you have any info on that?
Yeah, I think we're going to try to time it right around Valentine's Day so that we get that big, weekend push.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Which, ironically enough, the title of that movie is The Big Weekend Push. So,
It's just
So that's
I mean,
appropriate.
it's all coming together perfectly.
literally.
and the sequel to this movie is It's All Coming Together Perfectly. Yeah. Sorry to drop the news on the sequel, Jeremy. I hope that
Differently.
wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't know he already knew
So
about
some
the
breaking
sequel.
news.
He must be.
Yeah,
He must be on my OnlyFans account.
I am. I'm his only fan.
I wish I could
yeah. I
do the
mean,
same with
no,
you, man.
nothing that. Aside from the sex tape, nothing that I can really talk about right now. But just excited for the new
It's all
year,
super
and
secret, huh?
yes, yeah, just excited for folks to watch Scare Package 2.
Yeah, I have like 7 or 8 super secret projects that I can't talk about, which I'd love to. Just like Graham.
But they're secret.
Hopefully,
they're secret.
hopefully I make the cut. Last year I filmed. There's a new show coming out on Apple called Bad Monkey, and hopefully I make the cut in that one. I was supposed to be recurring, but things got shifted around. Yeah. Apple
And
TV.
lastly, where can people keep up with you online?
Twitter at the Jeremy King.
Yeah. At Graham Skipper on Twitter, or I guess technically also on Instagram at Skipstagram, because I'm very clever. But I never use it. Twitter at Graham Skipper.
Wow. That's a great note to end this on, Graham. Your Skipstagram.
Yep. Did a great job.
Well,
there.
thank you guys for being on. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you
again
guys
for
so
joining
much.
us.
This is fun.
Take care.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thank you again to Jeremy King and Graham Skipper for joining us today. Make sure to follow us online at High on Horror 420 at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, MySpace, Friendster, all of them.
Everywhere but OnlyFans.
Everywhere but OnlyFans. We haven't made that one up yet. That's the other HOH.
When there's some demand for it. Some demand, because there's none at all.
So pay attention to those. You'll find out what we're doing next week. And you can always email us highonhorror420 at gmail.com. And go to our website, highonhorror.com. And make sure to check out our reviews on there. And I guess that'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.